Hi, everyone. I'm Ronnie,
And I'm Jessica,
and you're listening to Clean With Me.
the podcast where we walk you through cleaning your house.
Thanks for joining me. In today's episode, I'm going to talk you through cleaning for guests. However, even if you're not expecting anyone, it's always a good idea to clean as if you were having company. So let's get right into the episode. It's time to gear up for our cleaning session. Maybe you need to freshen up a little bit. Lately, I've been doing this side braid thing, and that's kind of my around the house look. Or maybe you need to light a candle, take out the trash, run your garbage disposal to make sure your house smells good. That's something I definitely like to do immediately on the day guests are arriving, is to start working on the smell. I'm not saying my house smells bad or anything, but we have pets, and let's face it, we all just get used to certain smells. And especially if you have carpeting and you haven't shampooed in a while, it's a good idea to have some type of a pleasant scent to kind of compensate for that. Another thing you might want to have handy are some carpet sprinkles. Of course, if you don't have something to sprinkle on your carpeting, you can use baking soda to kind of freshen your carpet. But sometimes when I'm expecting company, I like to get those scented carpet sprinkles. It's not something I do all the time, and it's no substitute for shampooing, which my husband does periodically. But we're talking about the day you're having company, so that might be something that you want to do to freshen up your house. If you have it on hand, go around sprinkling that on your carpet and let it sit while we work on some of the other steps. I'm not going to have you start a load of laundry or anything, because now's not the time to focus on things like that. Something that I sometimes do when I am preparing for a party is just put my laundry hamper out in the garage. From time to time, we've had parties where we've cleaned out the garage and people were throwing darts, but that's not the norm. So often when I'm in that final crunch, that final hour getting ready for guests, I will put the dirty clothes hamper out in the garage, because let's face it, that laundry might not smell fresh, and just dirty laundry on display is not a good look. If you have kind of an overflowing hamper, stick that out in the garage or something, if your garage is not part of your entertaining area, obviously. And what I'll do with any residual clean laundry is I will put it inside my closet, okay? Because I don't want to get sidetracked on putting away clean laundry when the focus is on getting the house clean and presentable for guests. You can always do that laundry tomorrow. Again, put the dirty laundry somewhere, put the clean laundry somewhere, so that neither of those are on display. And I talk about this a lot, but when you're entertaining, unless you have a 3-bathroom house where you have kind of like your kids' bathroom and then also a guest bathroom, if you're like me and you only have the 2 bathrooms and one of them is in the master bedroom, there's a chance somebody could ask to use the bathroom, especially if you're having kids over. Typically, with adult guests, if they notice the bathroom's taken, they'll just kind of wait, keep an eye on the bathroom door, and go when it's their turn. But when people have kids, sometimes it's like, can I use your other bathroom or whatever? So I am going to have you make your bed and things like that, just in case. However, I don't want you to put most of your effort in the bedroom. So yeah, get your house smelling good. Maybe make sure you have some cleaning supplies ready and that you feel comfortable and presentable. I like to get somewhat presentable early on in case someone arrives early, but then I also like to clean my house early enough to where I can really freshen up and relax a little bit before the guests arrived. I don't like to be kind of in that mindset where I just barely got the house under control and I'm flustered. I like to be able to fix up and then relax on the couch for a few minutes so that I'm ready to be hospitable. Or maybe working in the kitchen on something at a leisurely pace. So hopefully you've done whatever you needed to do to gear up for the cleaning session. Let's get right into it. It feels so good to have a clean, organized, well-functioning home when you have guests, and that's what we're going for. So don't panic or anything. Take a deep breath. We are going to clean in order of priority. Okay? The first thing I want you to do is focus on your front entrance area and your front room, that first impression area. But I'm also going to include your outer entrance, okay, like your front porch or wherever people enter your home. I realize some people are walking in through the garage or something like that, but for most of us, it's our front porch. Maybe grab a broom and sweep off your front porch, or maybe even grab a hose and power wash it. That's an alternative. Sometimes I just hose down that front porch area and my front door, and that can work wonders, and it's funner than sweeping. So that's an idea. Sometimes, though, your spouse handles the outdoor stuff. I encourage you, if you have a lot to do, to maybe make a list, display it somewhere of, what you need to do before the guests arrive, and maybe show it to your husband, presenting it as your own to-do list. He's going to pick the items on there that he wants to do, and they may be outdoors. If you've ever seen these memes or videos where these women are lamenting the fact that they asked their husband to help them get ready for guests, and the husband is like trimming a tree out in the back 40 or something. They're notorious for that. But if you include some outdoor tasks, sometimes that will give them a suggestion of something that's actually important to you, like cleaning your front porch area or your back patio. But I realize this might be your cleaning session. You might not have help right now. You might be doing it yourself. But yeah, making the list could help others in your household know what your priorities are. So maybe you want to take a minute to kind of jot some things down. But if you're just working on your own, there's probably no need to make a list, because I'm going to try to mention all the important things. So front entrance, it includes your front porch, your front door. Maybe you need to straighten your little decorations that you have out front, your welcome friends sign or whatever, seasonal decor maybe. Maybe you want to hang something patriotic. If you're listening to this on the day I recorded it, which is Memorial Day, maybe you want to hang something patriotic on your front door. I'm not having company, but if I was, I have kind of a little 4th of July type decoration that would also work for Memorial Day. And I have a small nail on my front door where I hang different seasonal items, because we all like to get those decorations, whether at Hobby Lobby, Dollar Tree, or whatever. And then, I have those in the closet, in my linen closet on a shelf. And I like to pull out, an appropriate seasonal decoration, either at the beginning of a certain season or when I'm expecting company. So if you do have something patriotic, that could be a finishing touch to working on your front porch area. Maybe you're listening to this episode for inspiration, but if you're new to the show, I literally talk you through the process of cleaning your house. So I encourage you to be up and moving and working in whatever area I'm talking about. It doesn't mean doing exactly what I'm saying. It means working in the area of your home that I'm talking about, and then maybe getting ideas from what I'm saying and then doing the thing that I mentioned. So your front room, obviously you want to pick up any clutter. There may be items in your front entrance or living room or both that you're used to seeing because they've been sitting out for a while. It could be a project you're working on. It could be something that you just kind of set down and forgot about it. Now's the time to look at the front part of your home through the eyes of a guest. Whether you're cleaning for company or not, look at that area. For example, at my house, I have a piano in my entryway. I call it my launch pad. You may have a different piece of furniture as a launch pad. It could be a little table, a little shelf. But where I have my key basket, things that I need to remember to take somewhere, things that are heading out the door, so to speak, will go on either the top back of my upright piano or on the piano bench. When I'm getting ready for company, I will remove all clutter from that area and get it down to just some framed pictures, the key basket, and a candle or wax warmer. Of course, you're going to want to light that candle and get some ambiance and get yourself in the cleaning mood. If anyone arrives early before your house is clean, having it smelling fresh and having that clean entry area can definitely go a long way. Like, hey, have a seat. Would you like something to drink? And then, I'm still doing a few things or whatever. I don't know, have someone, have one of your kids entertain the guests while you finish cleaning. But hopefully you're not that down to the wire. Okay. Right now, I just want you to be straightening that front entrance area. You're going to want to straighten your couch cushions. And let's take a closer look at the couches. Do you need to grab a spot cleaner and quickly clean up any stains? If you do have toddlers who eat in the living room, that might be a thing. Whether you're using an upholstery spray or just a shout, a spray and wash, a carpet spot cleaner, just about anything that's safe on fabric, that's designed to clean fabric or carpeting, is probably safe on your upholstery. And you just need a damp rag and the spray bottle. If you don't have a spray bottle of any kind, I've been known to do this. I'll get a damp rag and just pour a tiny bit of laundry detergent on it and use that. Some of us don't need to spot clean our couches. I feel like I'm pretty strategic when purchasing couches. I do not get light colors or couches that will show a lot of dirt. I steer away from certain fabrics, and I try to get kind of rugged looking couches that don't get messed up easily. Probably the worst couch situation that I had, I used to have a light tan leather sectional, and this is when I had toddlers and babies, and I guess it was a problem because they wrote on it with ink pens, and also the leather got scratched in places. That was real visible. I definitely do not recommend leather couches if you have little ones, but maybe you have them. Is what it is. Sometimes we already have something before we have kids, or it just looks pretty in the store, it's on sale, and we end up purchasing it. I already had kids when I got that sectional, but before long it didn't look too good. So do what you can to spot clean your couches if necessary. One thing, if you're down to the wire or whatever, I want you to just quickly pick up, dust, and vacuum or sweep your living areas. Okay, because I don't know how soon you're having company. But if your company is coming much later in the day and you have time to do so, it's always a good idea to clean out your couch cushions when time permits, because there's always that horror. There's always that horrific situation where somebody drops their keys in your couch and they have to kind of reach in the cushion, or worse, lift up your cushion to look for the keys. It can happen. Jessica and I talked about this in an episode a while back where we were recording together. We were both in the episode, and I talked about my grandma, a story from my grandma, where when her kids were little, this snooty woman came and visited her home and somehow reached into her couch and pulled out a shriveled up hot dog. And the reason the story was so funny is because my grandma has always been known for just being an immaculate housekeeper. She was the type of woman who would get up early, clean her entire house. You know, she always washed her dishes immediately. Just everything was always so perfect. The house was always freshly vacuumed. Nothing was ever out of place. Even my grandma, when her kids were little, you know, was not immune to these embarrassing messes that can be created when you have little ones. And Jessica talked about someone reaching for the keys, which I don't know if that was the situation when that woman found the hot dog or if she was just doing kind of an inspection, so to speak. Someone else I know had a friend who would run her finger across the top of this person's refrigerator to check for dust. So straighten up those couches, the carpets. Definitely when I clean out the couch cushions, I have my kids come get things. Like I'll make a pile and I'll be like, come get your things out of this pile, whether it's a pen, a sock, whatever. You know, retrieve those items and throw away the rest, so to speak. But again, if you're having company on short notice or you've just been busy and you're cleaning at the last minute, you might want to kind of let that slide. Something that I would notice in my living room when preparing for guests while dusting would be dusting under the piano, because the piano sits on a tile floor, and when I'm sitting on the couch at a certain angle, I can see dust under there. Okay, I'm not like a clean freak or anything like that, but a guest seated on my couch would see that if they just kind of gazed under the piano. So 2 options, either dust under your piano or make sure the TV's on so that their eye is drawn elsewhere. I'm kidding, obviously. But there may be kind of a problem area like that. So definitely look around. When I'm dusting in preparation for guests, I dust my blinds and I wipe down my windowsills. I don't necessarily clean baseboards because that's not something I constantly do. And it's something that I like to do over time. I like to do kind of one baseboard here and there. But obviously, if your baseboards are in dire need of attention, by all means wipe them down. But I feel like things that are up higher, like windowsills, blinds, are more noticeable. So I definitely hit those. Washing a window would be necessary if your window is going to be exposed, but those of us with blinds don't really show as much of our window. Although I will say this, lately I've been raising the blinds on the front window so that my 2-year-old grandson can look out. He likes to watch for his mama, or if the teenagers are riding bikes or something, he wants to look out the window at them. And I obviously don't want him messing with the blinds for safety reasons, and also don't want him to mess them up. So I raise those up a little bit. And some of you might also do that if you have a cat that sits in the windowsill. So obviously, if your windows are going to be exposed, you may want to grab some glass cleaner and a microfiber cloth and get to work on those windows. Okay. And I'm not expecting you to do everything I'm saying while I'm saying it. Just be working in the room that I'm talking about while I throw out ideas, and pick 1 or 2 of the ideas. because obviously everyone listening probably needs to straighten their couch cushions and throw pillows and pick up the floor and dust. But some of you have other problem areas. The TV is kind of a focal point. The way I clean a TV, if you're going to have the TV on, it depends on what the culture is of your family, whether you have kind of a TV going or whether you don't when you have company. But maybe the kids are going to be playing video games on the TV, and then some people are going to be staring at that. For us, it would be very important in that situation to have our TV stand dusted. We live in a very dusty area, so dusting is a big thing at our house. The way we clean the TV is just a tiny bit of water, just a slightly dampened microfiber cloth. Make sure you rub it long enough to remove any streaks. And then typically I will just continue on to wipe the TV stand. I realize your TV may be a wall mount, but since we have a TV stand, that's definitely got to get dusted, because when people are looking in that direction, they'll see that. One other thing to think about, childproofing. If your guests have toddlers or crawling babies or rambunctious preschoolers, you may want to make sure that you don't have markers, crayons, pens out. I definitely need to clean out a drawer in my living room because we have things like that. I mean, we don't have any Sharpies in there, but we tend to have things in that drawer that my grandson probably shouldn't get a hold of. He doesn't usually open the drawer, but ideally to finish childproofing the room, and I'm not talking about safety childproofing, the room is safe, but I'm talking about keeping them from destroying your house. I probably should clean out that drawer, because ideally that should contain things like remote controls, gaming controllers, and maybe a magazine, things like that, not things like pens and markers and crayons. So just a thought there. What about under your couches? If your couches are not flush with the floor, you may need to kind of sweep those out. But again, if there's not anything that's visibly showing, now might not be the time to deal with that. Okay? It just kind of depends on your furniture and whatnot. Coffee table. I have a pop-up coffee table. So if I were to entertain guests in the living room and I was planning on popping that up, I would clean out the inside of that coffee table. It's a coffee table that's designed to become a table. Just be working on your outer areas, your common areas, your entrance, your living room, any other outer areas. Maybe you have a separate family room, areas that your guests will see while I talk. But I'm just kind of bringing up some specific examples of things that I would do. Sometimes I put things inside that coffee table that belong to Jessica, my oldest daughter and the co-host of this show, because we go visit her about once a month, and sometimes I'll just have a little pile going, like, little clothing that belonged to our girls, things that got left at our house or left in our vehicle or whatever, and I'll put them in one of the little cubbies or boxes in that coffee table. Okay. Stuff like that should be placed in a bag in your closet or out in the car if you've got one of these coffee tables that opens up, and then you could grab your vacuum and vacuum out the inside of the coffee table. Not everybody has a coffee table that opens, but if you know, it can get full of stuff. We used to have a different coffee table before they even had these pop-ups where it just opened up for storage. And, back in the day, we had DVDs in there and whatnot. And sometimes there'd be random clutter in there other than the DVDs, just from those quick cleanups where you're stashing things. But people aren't likely to open up a coffee table that's just a storage thing. But with the pop-up, I might pop it up during a party because it gives people another place to eat. So just a thought there. And then vacuuming or sweeping, depending if you have carpeting or hard floors. You may even need to mop. Obviously, if you have hard floors, you want to sweep and mop. That really packs a punch when you have your floors just shining when your guests arrive. And they won't be shining when your guests leave, especially if it's a barbecue or maybe you call it a cookout. We're from California originally, so we call it a barbecue. But in some places, like barbecue is the food or maybe the grill that you cook on. I mean, for us, we call the place we cook, if it's, the grill or whatever that has the bars or whatever, we call that a barbecue, but we also have a barbecue. We invite people over for a barbecue on days like Memorial Day. We're not doing it today, but that's a thing. But I realize that Texans and possibly other Southerners would call that a cookout, and they might call just the food barbecue. But you know what I'm talking about. If you're going to be entertaining outdoors, people are going to be in and out, but you want your floor shining at least when they first arrive for that first impression area. I remember at one house we lived in, there was not a continuous walkway. I've lived in a lot of places, so I've got a lot of different problem house layout stories. But when people walked up, there was kind of an area where the grass was worn away because there wasn't a continuous walkway. And people would track in a lot of dirt. We had a party once where people were just in and out of the house. And when the party ended, our kitchen floor was like an off-white linoleum, and it was just brown. And my husband and I were just like, what in the world? Look how filthy this floor is. But it was at the end of the party. And that hasn't happened to us since. It was just the way people had to kind of walk through the dirt to enter our home, and they were just going in and out a lot during the party. So hopefully by now you've had time to straighten up and maybe even sweep and vacuum your front areas. If you haven't swept, mopped, vacuumed, whatever needs to be done, definitely do that after the episode. I know some of you listen to these episodes for the more tedious aspects of straightening up and wiping surfaces. Hopefully you've dusted your coffee table, your end tables. If not, quickly do that, and any other surfaces that may be unique to your living areas. But the way to make your front rooms look good is to dust, remove clutter, dust, and either vacuum or sweep and mop depending on the surfaces. And of course, if you do have carpeting, you're going to want to clean any spots. Whenever I vacuum, since I'm staring at the carpet, that's when I notice that I need to spot clean a stain. Let's head to your kitchen. And one of the keys to preparing for guests is to be keeping up on your kitchen in the days leading up to having company. I like to do some deep cleaning in advance as far as wiping down cabinets, baseboards, possibly organizing my pantry, sweeping my pantry floor, which tends to get cluttered with packaging from bottled water and things like that, or just packaging that falls from the shelves. Ideally, you do things like that in advance. You keep up on your dishes in the couple days leading up to the party so that you can focus on actually cleaning. But if not, you may have some dishes to do. One thing that becomes more of a priority when I'm expecting company is putting away the clean dishes so that there's not like a pile of clean dishes in the drying rack or in the dishwasher. Okay. Your mother-in-law, sister-in-law, friend might be offering to help you in the kitchen, or maybe your own mom, and you don't want to be embarrassed that you've got all these clean dishes to put away before they can help you clean up the mess. They only want to help you clean up the mess generated at the party. They don't want to deal with any other stuff. So let's put away any clean dishes. But something else that is of the utmost importance when entertaining when you're having some type of a potluck where people are bringing stuff, or even just if people are going to be getting drinks out of the refrigerator, is to deep clean your fridge. It's so crucial. That's why you want to keep up on dishes ideally, and no judgment here if you just had to clean for a party at the last minute. But if you're like me, you knew you were having company and you've probably been kind of working on things, random deep cleaning tasks, just keeping up on dishes in preparation. Okay. So once you're done doing dishes, the absolute next priority is to clean the inside of your refrigerator. If you're really pressed for time, this could be kind of a spot cleaning of just removing old leftovers to make room for things and wiping down the shelves. Okay? But if you have more time, you might want to pull out all of your food, place it on your countertop, or kitchen island, or kitchen table, and just quickly detail the entire inside of your refrigerator. Now, for some of you, that would be a huge undertaking because you have just super full refrigerators. We don't tend to keep our refrigerator super full. If anything, right now, the top shelf is full because we have 2 different kinds of milk, 2 different kinds of juices, a bottle of cold brew, just a lot of those type of options. But we don't keep a lot of food in the fridge. Just on any given day, we have like our condiments, our eggs, our cheese, butter, drinks, like I mentioned, and what else? Some leftovers usually. But when you're having a party, that's the time usually to just get rid of your leftovers. You're not serving leftovers to guests, and you want to make room for the things that matter. Maybe your guests are bringing over a macaroni salad, a potato salad. Maybe you're making those things. Okay. Another thing I try to avoid when just be working in your kitchen on dishes and cleaning out your refrigerator, and of course wiping surfaces while I talk. But another thing that I try to do when I'm entertaining is not put myself in a position where I'm cooking and cleaning at the same time. Often I will do the cleaning early because I want to make the food closer to the event. The exception, of course, are cold dishes like macaroni salad, potato salad. You can even make those the night before and have those, chilled in the fridge. Desserts can often be made the night before. But you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're like detailing your entire house while something's in the oven. Okay, it's too stressful. So try to give yourself time. You want to clean, and no judgment here if you're in a crunch or whatever. And maybe other people are bringing all the food and your job is just to clean. That's always nice. I like to have made some of the food, for an event. I tend to kind of take pride in my cooking and baking and things like that. But if I'm overwhelmed and in a busy stage of life, and if my family lived nearby, I might let them bring all the food and I just clean the house. Okay? Don't try to do too much is my point. Okay? Now, we talked about having a barbecue or a cookout. This could mean that people are hanging out in your backyard. Okay. So what you're going to want to do out there, of course, clean your refrigerator first. I feel like that's such a high priority. But when you're done in the kitchen, you may want to turn your attention outside, and kind of like with the front porch, you want to sweep or power wash with a hose your patio out back. Okay. And just remove any clutter and, pick up after your dogs. And it doesn't have to be perfect. There's a lower standard about the outdoors. I mean, more power to you if you have a beautifully manicured if you have a beautifully manicured lawn, you have outdoor furniture, and your yard is just beautiful. Great. We're not in that mode right now. So for us, it would be just really cleaning the patio and, maybe asking the husband to, hit the yard with a weed eater. Okay. We all go through different seasons of life. At one time, we had our yard looking so good. If I was having company today, I wouldn't have time to landscape the yard out. Obviously, I would just clean my patios and pick up after my dogs. But at one time, we had a circle of bricks. We still have that, but we had removed all the weeds, and we put sand in the circle that surrounded our fire pit in the center of our yard. So kind of what I had envisioned for it is we would sit in the chairs and then have our feet in the sand while we're sitting around the fire, kind of like a beachy type atmosphere. It was really nice, but it takes a lot of sand to maintain that, because I feel like every time it rained, like that sand was kind of combining with the dirt, and it was like, how many bags of sand do we need to keep this feeling like a beach? Definitely you can't even see the sand anymore. But I would like to recreate that. And we had a lawn, and we had an above ground pool. But when my husband had his heart surgery and had to really take it easy for a while, we kind of let the yard go to heck, so to speak. So that needs to be brought back. But and it's hard. It's hard to maintain. You might be wondering, well, why didn't you keep it up? We live in just a very dry desert, so it takes a lot of work to maintain a lawn here, and our ground is really rocky, and yeah, it's an ordeal. It's an ordeal. So that's definitely one of the things. Now that I'm working less, I want to start putting more effort into my yard. But again, clean your refrigerator. And if you're going to be entertaining, outside, either on like some patio furniture or just, people are going to be standing around grilling, definitely at least get your patios swept or hosed down at the very least, and make sure your chairs are clean so people aren't afraid to sit down. Okay. Yeah, cleaning out the refrigerator. Be ruthless about getting rid of leftovers. Nobody wants to see your leftovers during a party. It's just, it's in poor taste, folks. Trash that stuff this time. Speaking of leftovers, just while you're finishing either your kitchen or your back patio, I will just say that I saw something on Pinterest this morning. This is off topic a little bit, but I wanted to share the idea. I thought it was such a great idea. When you make a homemade soup, you ladle it into some red Solo cups. Okay? Then you put those cups in the freezer and freeze these like cup-shaped cubes of the soup. You could also do it with chili or stew or whatever. And then once they're frozen, you cut like 3 slits in the top of the cup. I haven't tried this yet, but I'm definitely excited to try it, and peel the cup off of the soup cube. Okay, so hopefully it works like they say it does and peels off smoothly. I'm assuming it would. If not, you could probably spray some cooking spray in the cup maybe to make sure that it releases smoothly. But once you have these cup-shaped soup cubes, then you just put a bunch of them. They're already individually frozen. You put a bunch of them in like a gallon freezer bag or 2-gallon freezer bag and put that in the freezer. Then someone can just, and this has nothing to do with entertaining for a party, this is just for free. Someone can just come along and take one of these soup cubes and either put it in a saucepan or like a round microwave casserole dish with a lid ideally, and just heat up a single portion of the soup. You could save money that way because it's really cheap to make a homemade soup, and this would be a lot cheaper than having canned soups on hand. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't just stock up on a bunch of stuff because stuff tends to get freezer burn and whatnot. But I'm thinking of maybe just once a week making either a homemade soup or a chili, making a large enough portion that we eat it one night, but then we have soups, frozen for the next couple weeks as, lunches or snacks. So again, that has nothing to do with entertaining, but it's something that was on my mind, so I wanted to mention it here. Hopefully by now you have cleaned your refrigerator. Cleaning out the refrigerator is one of those things where you put it off because you think it's going to take longer than it really is, but it doesn't really take long. If you do have semi-disposable containers where you were storing leftovers, I give you permission to toss those. I definitely like to get not necessarily this brand, but like Gladware type stuff. Near the end of the school year, my son was saying that he wanted some containers for reheating leftovers at school. So I bought these semi-disposable containers. I use them, I obviously used them to send him leftovers in, but I also used them to store like homemade pico de gallo, where I chop up onions, jalapenos, cilantro, tomatoes, add some garlic and some salt. And, that's my pico de gallo basically. And I'd have it, in this little plastic container with a lid. But it kind of got shoved, the pico de gallo kind of got shoved to the back of the fridge after a few days. And, when I pulled it out, it was kind of gross or whatever. But I washed out the container because I wasn't in a hurry. I wasn't, preparing for guests. But being that it was a semi-disposable container, if I was cleaning the fridge in preparation for a party, I would have just tossed that. Okay. So be ruthless about tossing leftovers, wiping down surfaces in your fridge. Hopefully you've done that by now, and you're wiping down your countertops, stove tops, your sink, the area around the sink. And again, I don't like having clean dishes sitting out, but usually if I wash dishes and I still have other things to do to prepare for guests, like cleaning bathrooms, which is super important, I will leave those things drying, and then I'll just kind of tell myself, if you have time, note to self, if you have time, go back and put away those dishes after they've dried for just more of a streamlined countertop. And obviously people might be working on those surfaces. Sometimes people come over and prepare something in your kitchen, and you want to have plenty of space for multiple people working in your kitchen or for just setting out food. My sister does things like sandwich bars, nacho bars, where she sets out a lot of ingredients and people can do kind of a build your own situation. Okay. Definitely putting away all your clean dishes is conducive to having a large spread in your kitchen. So we'll get back to that. I'll try to remind you at the end of the episode to put it away, anything that you left drying. Hopefully you've cleaned your kitchen. You may need to sweep it after the episode if you didn't have time to do that. Let's head to the bathrooms. Obviously, the first bathroom you're going to detail is your primary guest bathroom. Okay. Like if you have a 2-story house and there's a downstairs bathroom, that's the one you're going to focus on. If you have a bathroom that's just close to the front of your house, that's what you're going to focus on. When you walk into my entryway/living room, you make a right down the hallway. The very first door is the bathroom. That's our guest bathroom. That bathroom has got to be pristine for guests. Ideally, you've deep cleaned your bathroom recently. If not, now's the time. But finishing touches I do in a bathroom is typically just cleaning the mirror, the countertop, the sink, the exterior parts of the toilet, and the floor, because usually my toilet bowl's looking good. If I knew I was having company, I've already, been keeping up on cleaning my toilet bowl. It's those exterior parts of the toilet that often need attention before a party. And I also, if there aren't going to be small children alone in the bathroom, I like to light a candle in the bathroom. Another finishing touch for guests, I will often provide an air freshener, because let's face it, if somebody uses the restroom at a party, they're going to want to spray that in case somebody's waiting at the door to go in right after them. If you know, you know. Another thing I like to do as a finishing touch, just be cleaning your bathroom while I talk about these finishing touches that you're going to do afterward, but creating kind of a pyramid of toilet paper. You'd be surprised how much toilet paper people go through at a get-together or party. And sometimes there's that one person who just uses a lot of toilet paper every time he or she comes over. It's usually a she. Okay. If you're listening to this and you're trying to guess who it is, don't bother. You'll never guess. And it's nobody that's been to my house anytime recently. You probably heard me joke about this in other episodes, but some people are just notorious for using a lot of toilet paper, and you don't want people to start rifling through your cupboards looking for more toilet paper. So it may be a good idea to display the extra rolls in an attractive way. You might also have a basket. For a while, I just had a basket on the back of the toilet tank, a wicker basket, and it fit about 4 rolls of toilet paper just stuffed in it, and I like the look of that. Other times I've created a pyramid. Right now I have like a 2-tiered metal basket, and usually there's just a roll of toilet paper in one of the baskets, but I would add more if I were expecting company. Of course, make sure you have a fresh guest towel. If there are kids involved, I like to attach the guest towel, anchor it some way so they don't pull it down and it ends up on the floor. I'm talking about the hand towel, of course. I'll do that with like a chip clip or something. I even have these like golf towels. I don't know if anybody knows what these are, but they have like a metal hook and you can attach that to your towel rack. Doesn't sound very elegant, but if this is like a kind of a casual party with a lot of kids, that can definitely keep your towel in place. Another idea, some people are grossed out by the guest towel itself. Another idea is to have a paper towel dispenser so that people can use a paper towel to dry their hands. That's a possibility. And of course, make sure you have a soap pump. You don't want, if you've been like, roughing it with a bar of soap, you don't want your guests to have to use that. That was okay in the 80s. It better be a pump now, folks. For you older ladies, if you're still leaving a bar of soap, I get it. I do it sometimes when I run out of pump soap, but typically when I have a bar of soap sitting on the sink, I do that in my master bathroom, not in the guest bathroom. Okay. So let's get that guest bathroom shining. And then once you do, it's time to head to your secondary bathroom, whether that's in your master bedroom or, in your kids' hallway or somewhere else if you have, multiple bathrooms. But I don't want to focus too much time detailing my bedroom for a party, but I absolutely do want to make the bed and pick up clutter off the floor and run the vacuum in case someone uses my bathroom. And then, of course, I clean up my bathroom as well. But I'm typically putting more effort into the guest bathroom if I'm down to the wire. Okay. So, your master bedroom and that bathroom that somebody might use is not your highest priority, but you don't want it to be embarrassing either. Okay. That's one of the reasons why before a party I would put a clean laundry pile in my closet, because I tend to have residual clean laundry in my bedroom, and I don't want that on display. Nobody needs to, talk about airing your dirty laundry. You don't want to air your clean laundry either, because nobody needs to know that you're living out of a clean laundry pile lately and haven't been folding and putting away. That doesn't need to be on display at your party. So maybe now you need to clean your master bathroom. Let's not have every curling iron, every hair dryer on the countertop. Let's just put everything away, clear off that vanity, start spraying and wiping, touch up that bathroom toilet. Maybe you do need to scrub a water line from the toilet bowl if you've been neglecting that master toilet. Okay? You don't want anything embarrassing going on there. I was at an extended family member's house who will probably never listen to this show, and this person had roped off the entire upstairs for a get-together. I personally wouldn't do that. I feel like if I was hoping people didn't go upstairs, I would just hope they didn't, and I wouldn't rope it off, because then that's like announcing it's messy up there. I did not clean up there. I just personally, I'm not saying it to judge the person. It is someone I don't particularly care for, but I just wouldn't want to announce that. I'd rather take the chance that they just wouldn't go up there, because if there's already a guest bathroom downstairs, why go up there? But maybe somebody would if they wanted privacy to change a diaper, to breastfeed, or whatever. Maybe they would if there wasn't an area for that. But I'm just throwing that out there, that I don't like the rope off method. I don't have a 2-story. I have never personally owned a 2-story. My parents did have 2-story houses when I was growing up. We were told to clean our rooms in advance of a party, so there were no hidden dungeons that we were hoping people didn't see. My parents had a pretty high standard, so they'd have us clean our rooms. But at one house though, and just be cleaning your bathroom especially, and at least straightening up your bedroom, which I mean just make the bed, do a pick vac. Your bedroom doesn't have to be perfect, but it just needs to look like you normally keep it tidy, okay? At one house that I lived at growing up, it had an interesting layout where there was a staircase, and then there was a large landing area large enough for a couch, and then there was a bedroom on either side. The master bedroom was downstairs. Okay, my parents' bedroom was downstairs. So there were 2 girls, 2 boys. There was a girl room to the left of this landing, and then a boy room to the right. And then there was something called a Jack and Jill bathroom in between, where the bathroom has 2 doors. So basically you use the restroom, you're locking 2 doors, because you can access that bathroom from either the boys' room or the girls' room. Well, as a teenager, the great thing about that layout is my dad literally never went upstairs, because he had no reason to go up there. His bedroom was downstairs. So my mom would go up there, as a mom, obviously, to clean our bathroom and to tell us to clean our rooms. But we never had to worry about getting in big trouble with dad over those rooms, because he never went upstairs. But for a party, you never know. You want to clean every room if you can, but if you can't, you can't. Another option is to just lock your bedroom door and just say, sorry, that room's not childproof. If somebody's trying to be can my kid use your bathroom or whatever, or we've got guns in there or whatever. some of these excuses can definitely keep people out of your room. And you can also lock the door. We have a key to our bedroom, so we do sometimes lock it. When we lock our bedroom, though, it's not because of a mess. It's because we don't like people going into our bedroom when we're gone and things like that. So we will sometimes lock the door, and then we have a key for that. Anyway, you want to think about the areas where your guests. Lastly, I want you to think about where your guests are going to spend the most time, okay? Hopefully by now you've cleaned your front porch, your front rooms, all of the outer areas of your home that people are going to be walking around in with, and your kitchen, your bathrooms, to a lesser extent your bedroom if you want to make that bathroom accessible to guests. If you have 3 bathrooms, feel free to just lock your bedroom. You want to think about where guests are going to spend the most time, though, and concentrate your efforts there. Okay? For example, if there's just like a slight chance somebody might see your laundry room, just pick up the floor in there. But don't waste time just scrubbing your washer and dryer or whatever. Unless it's a thing where, you're that family where people enter your house through the garage and they're walking through a laundry room or something in the process. You don't want to waste your energy on areas that are likely to go unnoticed. Just typically the kitchen and the bathrooms are what people are going to judge you on. And of course you want just other areas tidy and clutter-free. And again, vacuuming and dusting can go a long way. But let's talk about a unique situation where somebody's coming over with a baby and they might want to go into a bedroom to change the baby or put the baby down for a nap, like on your bed or something. I've been known to prepare a bedroom, and then when that guest arrives, like, if you need to change the baby or put the baby down for a nap, you can do that in so-and-so's room. And basically, you've got kind of a freshly made bed with like a blanket on it where they could feel comfortable changing the baby, not directly on your bedspread or whatever. They could also, some people, some people don't like to breastfeed out in the front room or whatever. Some do. I feel like it was always easier with a young baby to kind of keep covered up. But, when you've got like you're breastfeeding a toddler, if you're going to end up, exposing more than maybe you want to. You might want to go into a back room if that's the case. So some people will want to go into a room for that. So it would be nice to have a comfortable chair for the nursing mother. Again, a blanket spread out on the bed where they could change the baby. And obviously, if you have a baby of your own, you've got like a nursery with a rocking, you might have a nursery with a rocking chair and a changing table and all that. But I'm kind of talking about for those of us who don't, sometimes I'll provide a designated bedroom and let that person know if you need to change the baby or something. I won't say if you need to breastfeed because I'm not telling them like they have to go in a bedroom to do that. But I'll usually just say, if you need to change the baby, here's, you can go in so-and-so's room, and I just show them. And then maybe they're going to nurse the baby, put him down for a nap, and do those other things in there as well. So hopefully you've gotten some things done during this episode. Maybe now would be a time to put away those drying dishes and maybe fix yourself up a little bit. And I learned this from Fly Lady years ago. You don't always want to be cleaning just up to the minute when your guests arrive. If you're not needing to work on cooking in the kitchen or something like that, it's always a good idea to just sit down and relax. And also, I like to give the impression that my house is usually in good condition and that I wasn't just scrambling to get it presentable for guests, even if I was. So I like to be fixed up and relaxing on the couch when the guests arrive, and not just flustered. But, sometimes I'm doing a lot of cooking and whatever, I'm going to be in the kitchen. That's a thing too. But anyway, I hope you got a lot done. Maybe you need to lock the door of your messiest room in the back. No judgment here, especially if there are 2 other bathrooms they can use. If it's all adults, you can just lock your bedroom door and not offer that bathroom. And yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, definitely subscribe to our bonus content. We have other episodes that are not available to the general public, and you can access those episodes by supporting us on Spreaker, Patreon, or Apple. And you can find out more about that by visiting cleanwithmepodcast.com. And you can choose whichever option is most convenient for you. We don't expect anyone to pay for additional content, but we sure appreciate it when you do, and we feel that it'll really help you. Like, to get on our full program and hear all of our episodes, it's more cleaning motivation that way. I hope you have a happy Memorial Day. If you've been in the military, thank you for your service, and have fun entertaining if that's what you're going to be doing later. And as always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you in the next episode.